Hello and welcome. My name is Carsten Lützen. I'm an Agile coach and a Scrum Master. Today I'll talk a bit about process illustration and how we can do that using, for instance, a flipchart. If you like these videos, please subscribe and share. That would be super awesome. So let's get back to process illustration. What I like quite a lot if we're discussing a process or discussing some concept is to try to make a drawing. And it doesn't need to be a perfect cartoon, beautifully drawn. Just like super simple shapes and arrows can actually get us a long way for both for understanding but also for discussion and aligning on what is it actually we mean. For instance, let's say that we have some kind of funnel we need some kind of funnel for our requirements, user stories, backlog items, whatever we call them, right? And we need to take them into our process, our way of working in some form or another, and then do some work on it. So we probably start very broad and then narrow it down. Some will exit along the way, and that's fine. And just super simply, right? So the input we can get can be in many different forms. So the input we could get could, for instance, be some kind of note, a post-it note maybe, with some text on it. It could maybe be, what should we say, a scroll, so a long document with a lot of information, some relevant, some probably not that relevant. So a lot of text on this. And then and of course, maybe some kind of email or letter. It's also a classic. So all of this goes into some kind of funnel. And then we just draw a literal funnel, and we can make some small like this to say that this goes in to our, wow, that was not that pretty, it works, our funnel. And then this funnel has some, what should we say, some steps along the way where we inspect what is happening. So this could, for instance, be a product manager check-in. So checking in with the submitter. What is all this about? So not necessarily doing a whole lot, but just checking, does this make sense or not? Then this machine continues to work and then spits out some form of uniform backlog item that we can then work with. So now we have a pile of backlog items that we can then start to work on. So who does that? Who looks at these? That could, for instance, be the, what should we say, team lead, if we have one of those, or if we have a cross-functional team, then it's probably the entire team, which would be preferable, but nonetheless. So they do something about this, they take a look at it, they work on it. And once they have looked on this, they can start to figure out what is the next part of our process. Is that putting it in the very long backlog of doom, that nobody can really understand and remember what is in it? Or do they put it somewhere else? We can just illustrate that with small arrows like this. So do we go in there? Or do we maybe throw it in the garbage bin? Because even though we did some refinement, it didn't really add value to us. And another opportunity is also that one of these might, in fact, go out again for another round trip for further refinement. And then at one point we might take this sprint backlog and then start to work and so on. So just with fairly simple metaphors, without adding any shading, without adding any colors, we can actually get a pretty good illustration of that we have some kind of funnel where we have some kind of product manager check-in, and that then feeds into this pile that we look at refinement, and then it can either go into the backlog, it can go to the trash can, or it can go back into the funnel if we think there might be something there. But that will hopefully help, for instance, have the backlog somewhat clean, and so on. And just with this illustration, we can use it both for talking with the team lead, the product manager, the stakeholders, and so on. And it does not require that much creativity, just simple arrows, simple figures, and it can also be super simple stick figures. Those work equally well. So just process illustration and doing it like this, I really like it, and I really think it adds some more energy and fun into one of the more boring stuff to discuss. How should we structure our process? So I'm hoping this has given you some kind of inspiration on how to illustrate some processes, or maybe just start to illustrate processes. And then, as always, comments, questions, ideas, and feedback is more than welcome. That's it. Have a super, super awesome day.